we'll take the next step on your combat robot. So at this point, you made the chassis, you printed the chassis, and you hopefully also printed the wheel guards, and your team is assembling the wheel guards, and so that way you can focus on finishing up your the weapon bay mount for your robot. So the next step is to design the weapon bay. So in this video, it doesn't matter if you have 2 wheels or 4 wheels, you are creating a weapon bay for a horizontal spinner that's a mid-cutter weapon. So what does that look like? Let me show you. So let me show you a robot that's a horizontal spinner but with a mid-cutting weapon. So if that's what you're doing, then you should be watching this video. If you're not doing a horizontal cutter, and see, this is a horizontal cutter that's a mid-cutter weapon. You see the weapon goes in the middle of the body. Now if you're doing a vertical spinner like this one, then this video is not for you, because I will cover that on a different video. Or if you're doing a drum spinner like this one, it's a different strategy, so we'll cover that on a different video. So this video is about a mid-cutter, horizontal spinning mid-cutter. So let's go ahead and do that. So pull up your robot, go to your hub, your own hub, and let's pull up your robot. So here's your robot, and then the first thing you should do is to create a new component. Remember, anything that's printed separately is a different component. So let's call it weapon bay. So let's start designing weapon bay. Create a sketch and select this piece over here, because that's where the weapon bay will be. And let's also create a line from here to here, so that we're not digging into that hole, right? I don't want that hole to be extruded. Now select this, press E, and remember we had a parameter called I think it's called the weapon bay length, no, weapon bay attachment, right? 20 millimeters. I want it to be 20 millimeters. And once you do that, let's make the wheel guard and electronics and chassis invisible. And we need to cut a little bit, otherwise this piece will not fit inside the other piece that you created. So how much do you cut so that this piece fits inside the chassis? Well, you need to cut about 1 millimeter for it to actually fit snugly. So select this, press E, say negative because I want the arrow to go the other way, 0.5 millimeters. So you cut 0.5 there, and let's cut E, negative 0.5 on that side, and let's cut E, negative 0.5 millimeters that way, and also let's cut E, negative 0.5. Well, actually that side I don't have to cut because that's the bottom side and there's plenty of space on the bottom. Now you can turn on the rest of it. Now one thing that you need to do is make sure that weapon bay is anchored to the rest of the body. So I'm going to say ground to parent so it doesn't move. So the weapon bay is fixed to the rest of the body, okay? Now what I want to do is I want to create a piece that kind of connect this with the rest of the chassis part. So let's go to create and let's select this part and let's project. You see, I want to project this piece right here, and I want to project this piece, okay? So then what I want to do is I want to create a structure from here to here, and another structure, another line, so that it's a uniform structure, okay? Now I'm going to select Control, select this piece and that piece, and then press E and say another 20 millimeters, or remember our parameter, weapon bay attachment. And you will notice that once you create that, there's a little bit of gap right there. So we can fill that gap in by zooming in, right? Go to zoom in and press E and then select join right there. And then same thing over here, press E over here, E, join body and join, and then select the top over there. So you basically created a nice piece that kind of connect your chassis with the weapon mount. So let's get to the actual designing part of the weapon. So create a sketch, make sure you're in weapon, and now select this part, and then create a line like a triangle, like this, and so connected that back to there. So that's a nice triangle. And let's press E. No, actually, before we press E, let's draw a line. Create a line from here, the center point, to there. And I want that the distance to be, let's define this to be about 120 to give us enough clearance. Okay, so like that. And let's make it parametric by pressing S. Go to change parameters and put another value saying, let's create another weapon bay length, and let's make it 120. Weapon bay length is 120 millimeters. Press OK, and then double click on this and say weapon bay length, and then let's press E. Let's make the midline a normal line, so that way press E and say to this object over there, so it's a nice little object. Now if you press I, right, this thickness of this piece that you made is very thick. It's 25 millimeters. That's where the motor will be sitting. But before the motor gets there, we should create, we can get the motor. First, let's get the motor. How do you get the motor? Well, press Control S and then switch to save your file. Then switch to BattleBot hub, the hub that I created, and then get the motor, right? You right click on the CAD files and then go to the one, open this one that says, if it's a mid-cutting weapon, then you should use this motor. It's called Battle Ready Motor 5536, RDY 5536. Let's go, you can say file export, and then export it as a step file onto your downloads. Press yes, and then go back to your hub, the one that you created, and let's go to upload, right? Like always, we upload it, right? I go to upload, and I already uploaded it here, but if you didn't upload it, you go upload, select files into download, and then select that, and then say open, and then you select upload button over there, and if you hit the upload button, it will be right there. Now let's go back to the chassis, and let's put this on the electronics. So make sure you click on electronics now, okay? Because this goes back to electronics, and you put it right there. And you might want to move it using these arrows a little bit. And before you do that, after you move it, make sure that you make this a one component, so like a rigid component, so it doesn't move individually. So go click on this, and then go make it a rigid group. Press OK. Now what you want to do is you want to make this move it onto that surface. So how do you do that? You go to you want to glue this. Go to joint, and then say I want to join the bottom, this piece. Well, it doesn't matter which side actually, whatever the bottom piece is. So let's press the bottom. Well, actually, it's easy to get it from the top anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You can say control to get to the center, and then let's put it center of this. And you can see motion is revolute, so that it does actually spin. And right now it's just sitting right there. That's pretty good. Now the next thing is, let's go to your chassis, right? Your weapon, not chassis, weapon bay, right? And I want to create a sketch on the surface that basically makes space for that motor. So let's go to making a center circle, and I want to get to this point right here and make about 70 millimeter square like that. I mean circle like that. And I'm gonna press E and then say -10. So I cut -10 millimeters. Well, the whole thing is 25. So let's make it negative, yeah, roughly about -10 is good. And then remember, so when you cut that, so the motors cannot hover like that, right? So go to electronics, right? And we have to change that. Actually go to relationships. Under relationships, you have all the joints, right? The last one that we did, where we put the weapon, is the revolute, right? Right click on it to edit, edit joint, and let's click on this arrow and put like -10, because you cut that hole 10 millimeters, right? So now it's sitting roughly about -10 millimeters, yeah, from the surface, which is what we want anyway. Actually, we might want to make it like move edit joint, instead of 10, maybe 11 or 12, because it looks like there's a little bit of space there. So now if you look at it, right, it's sitting like that in that hole. Okay, that looks good. So it's sitting 10 millimeters from the surface. Now let's go back to the electronics, right? Click this away, put the relationships back. Let's go back to electronics. Now I want to I want to make sure, this is very important. You see how that relationship that we did, right? Select on edit the joint on it to rotate this like a little bit, so that when you look at it, you see these 4 holes, right? I want the 4 hole to sit so that like it's sitting, like right now it's not sitting in the right way. I want this piece to be like right there. So let's go to edit joint, right? Edit joint, and let's move it like this much, 40 degrees. You see it right now, the bean looking thing is closer to this, maybe a little bit more. Edit joint, and I'm gonna move like maybe 50. See, now that bean thing is directly right there, and there's a reason for that. Okay, I'll show you in a minute. Now I'm going to go press P, and I want to cut, I want to select basically this. I want to select this surface right here, capture position. So I want to project these holes. You see how not the top hole, but this hole and this hole and this hole and this hole. I want to project the 4 holes, right? And then I want to go to the weapon bay, and I want to cut those holes. Okay, I want to cut these holes. So select this one and this one, and go at an angle so you can get that one that I projected, right? And then press E, and then I'm going to hide the electronics for a second, and then say cut, and say all the way to extend type to the object right there. And the reason why I did that, those are the holes that will secure the motor into place. Now let's put the electronic back. So let's make it visible. So it will basically cut like that. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go back to the weapon bay and create something like right there. So the wires from here, from the motor, can get to the other side. So how do I do that? So let's create, let's actually make the electronic disappear for a second, and let's create the wire on the bottom of the motor, right, will actually make it uneven. So I want to make a cut like this, from here to here, to from here to here, like almost like a square, right? And I want to cut this piece. Actually, I want to move this all the way there, and I want to cut this maybe like that. I want it to go all the way there, and the reason for that is there's wires that come from the bottom of the motor that will sit there, and then if it's sitting there, it's probably not a good idea. So I'm gonna cut this, select this and this, right? And I'm gonna say press E, and let's cut like distance, let's say 15. Oh, I made it into a joint, so I'm gonna say -15. Cut. So you see how it cut like that? And the reason for that is now I have space for those wires that come up from the bottom of the motor to sit nice and snug in that hole. And then also I want to create a little bit of a like a feature over there. What I want to do is I want to create something over here. So how do I create something there? Well, create a sketch. So let's finish sketch, right? I want to create a sketch like right there. What I want to do is I want to move the construction plane, right? From here, I want to select the construction plane to be right there. Press OK. And then create a construction plane right there. What I want to do is I want to create a line that goes from here. You see how I moved the construction plane? So even though it looks like I'm drawing it on the surface, I'm actually drawing it right there. So I'm gonna create it all the way here, and then I want to create another one, and then I'm gonna create another line that starts here and go all the way to there. And then I want to connect these two lines, and then I want to also connect this line with that line. So now if I select this line, see how if I could select this line right that, and I want to cut it, cut it to the let's say cut it like 5. So it cuts like that. You see that? So it cuts. So I could put the wire, right? So there will be a place for the wire to go through there into the other structure right there. And did that cut all the way? That's the only problem. Not too sure if it cut all the way through there. Okay, so what I will do is I will make the chassis invisible, and I'm gonna make sure that this piece, I'm cutting this piece also. So I'm gonna just make a big rectangle like right there and cut that piece just so I can join that. So I'm gonna cut that -10. So if there's a hole there, actually I will cut it all the way to there. You see how it kind of joined? So I'm just making a path where the whole thing will be connected. You see how now the whole thing is connected, and I might even cut this part. You see that part? I might cut that one too. I might cut this part, yeah, because you see how it will be hard to put that through right there, that hole. So I'm gonna press E, cancel, press E, and let's cut it a little bit more, so that so that it's like connected, you know. So yeah, so the basic point is for the wire to go from there through there into there. I think that makes sense. Okay, so now all we need to do is remember we cut 10 millimeters into this. So what's the distance from, let's press I to go from here. What's the distance from here to there? It's about 15. So that means we need to cut like 5 millimeters from the bottom. Why are we cutting 5 millimeters from the bottom? Let's double check again. What was the amount of I? Press I here, and no. So press I, and then let's press I, and then let's go back. How much was this? 15. So that means we need to cut like 10 millimeters or like 12 millimeters from the bottom. And why is that? Because the grooves that go inside the weapon motor has a limit of about 6 millimeters, so that's why we have to cut more. So I'm gonna cut about, the whole thing is 15, so let me cut about 12 negative, let's say 11. Okay. So that's good. About 11 right there. And now let's turn on everything. Now you can see. This is how it's gonna look. Okay. Now, everything looks good. You can't put the weapon in there now, so you can get the weapon just like before, right? That should go to electronics. Go to electronics and get this weapon. Remember how you get the weapon? It's same thing as before. You change the hub to my hub, press save, and then go to the CAD files and pick this weapon. You've seen this weapon, right? The snaggle tooth blade will go nicely on that motor. So you select that and you say, you open that first, and then you say file export, and then that's a step file to your download. Press yes, and then now switch back to your own, and then upload it. Right? Go ahead, upload it again. And make sure that you are on your robot right here, and let's upload it to your robot. And I'm gonna upload it to the electronics, and let's put it there. Let's bring it up like that. Let's turn it 90 degrees. And now I'm going to do another joint, and then select. Nope. So joint, let's say joint, and then let's turn around, go to like right here, and let's push it down a little bit, like maybe not like 10. So you can see it from the top. That does it fit in the robot? Actually, I need to edit that joint again. Let's select that joint that we did, edit, and this one we will say it's not revolute, it's rigid, and position, right? We want to make sure the position is, first of all, it needs to be a little bit more down. And also, it needs to fit like that. You see how the screws need to fit right there. So now you can double check to see, is it a good fit? Does it take chunks of, that looks like no, right? No, you can double check to see if that doesn't take chunks of your robot. So does it take chunks of your robot? Is this fine? Is that fine on this? Wait, this part? Yeah. Let's change the angle and see. Yeah, I think it's still good. It doesn't take chunk off your robot. That's pretty good. It's a good first robot. Now, what's remaining is to create something like the top part of this. So how do you create a top part of this that's still like the top part of this robot? Well, that's easy. Let's create a top part, but now this is the weapon bay, right? Let's rename this to say rename weapon bay bottom. Now let's make a top for the weapon bay. Let's make the sketch that we did for the weapon bay bottom, right? More circle, so that way there's more space for it to get hit. Actually, we know instead of doing a fillet, let's just shave this right here, and just select this. And nope, cancel. Fillet. Like that. That's good. Yeah, so that's good. That doesn't mess with anything, and that's still, so fillet of about 30 millimeters. That's good. Okay, that's a good fillet. All right, now let's create the top. So now go to a new component, and let's say weapon bay top. So I'm gonna deselect everything. I don't want to see electronics. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to see any. I don't want to see chassis and wheel guard. Nothing. I just want to see this part, right? Create a sketch. Capture position. Now I want to make a line like this, and then I want to create this. I want to press E, and then let's say 10 millimeters. So this is the 10 that goes on the top. And now let's put the electronic there. Let's put the chassis. So yeah, let's make this extrusion all the way to the top like that. Okay. Now, I think we might have to go a little bit more up, so press E. Let's go to distance, weapon bay attachment, another. And so basically we want the height from here. Remember, this is so this is 10 millimeters from that. So the weapon, the motor is sitting 10 millimeters from there, right? So the spacing for this is 36. So that means this height should be the height. Let's see what the height from here to here is 35. Okay, so let's go to electronics, right? Let's press P, and then let's press P on the surface over here. It's okay. So this, right? This is the top of your robot. So press E. Let's make it like 1 millimeter. I just want to see. Okay. We need to somehow connect that piece with this. Wait. So no, don't press E yet. Go to the weapon bay top, and then weapon bay top, you can press E and say 1 millimeter. Now, I want to see from here to there, it's 10. I want to see what's the length from this I. Let's press I. From here, let's go to the main parent folder. I want to get the measurements of from here I to here to here. What is that? It's about 26. That's exactly what we want. We want that. So we just want to connect this surface to that. So how do we do that? Let's create a sketch, and let's go here, and let's create this let's press P, and let's turn off the electronics, right? I want to select this piece over here, right? And then I selected that piece that I'm projected, and then now let's press E and put 1 millimeter. Projected the bottom, right? Let's press E and put like 1 millimeter, not as a cut, but as a new body. And now we just have to join this piece with that piece, right? How do we join this piece with that piece? Well, let's press E and let's extend type, let's put it to the same as this object. So now we just have to connect this with that. So how do we do that? Select on the top of the sketch and let's just draw a line. Well, actually, let's press P to project this piece. Okay, and then let's just draw a line from here to there. Doesn't matter where, because we just want to connect these two pieces together. And then press Control, select that, and just press E like that. And now you have a piece that resembles a top. Now we can make this a little bit more, like maybe 2 millimeters in thickness, so that way there's more depth to it. And then also we can cut down on this length. Press E and say, so that when you print it, it's the same length. Extend type to the object, so that way the top is the same length. And now you're done. So let's look at it. And you can add the electronics. You're basically done with the whole robot. And if you really want, what you could do is you can add like another feature. Let's see if you spin this, will that hit? Oh, actually, that's the problem right there. Now I just realized when you make that top half, you can't have that piece in the middle. So let's do that. Let's go back to the top piece, and we need to make some modifications on this. Turn that off, make that invisible, and let's make another sketch in here, capture position. And we need to make this, offset this whole thing. We need to cut a hole in here. We need to cut a hole like that, like a center hole. Otherwise, we will be in trouble. Where we can make this move like that a little bit. Where we need to cut E. -20. Otherwise, now let's put the electronic. Let's see. Now let's go to the parent folder to see if that's good. Now when I swing it looks like it's good. Let me see. If you swing the weapon, it should not hit any part of the robot. It doesn't look like it does, but I'm gonna make this a little bit more. Let's press E, capture position, and say -2, just to make it so clear that it doesn't hit. It doesn't look like it hits. Okay, now only thing left to do is to let's go to the bottom part and make like a foam body. So go to here. Let's say, like, you see how it says what's that called? So we're on the bottom, right? So bottom piece right here. Go to create, but then put a spear, right? And you can create something like this. It's not a cut, new body, so that it has a little bit of like a structure to it, you know. I'm not gonna make it more than 40 millimeters, so that there's a little bit of structure to it, right? 40 millimeters. Or you can make it 30. I don't know. Just see what looks good, and then you know, you can do something like that. All right. So the whole robot is done. Everything's ready to go. You just have to print these things, and now you can even color this thing. You can like go over here and let's just make the origins invisible, right? And you can add different colors for different things. So for example, weapon bay top, right? You can right click on it and then go to appearance and select plastic, right? And then you can select, let's say ABS, right? And you can put it there so it turns white, and then you can right click on it to edit, and let's say you want to make it blue, you know. Done. So this edit blue, you see how it turns its color, and then close. And then let's say you want to make the chassis a different color, so go to chassis, and same thing, go to appearance, go to type of material, ABS, and put ABS. And then once you put ABS, go right click on it to edit, and if you want to make it like yellow or something, you know, you can make it whatever color you want. You see? Done. And then you see, now you have a robot that kind of looks crazy. And if you want to make the top, you can make the robot whatever color you want, okay? But the main thing is that you double check everything to see if it lines up properly, if the weapon is not going to hit the body and things like that. And yeah, that's it. Your whole robot is done. Actually, one more thing left, which is the top part, but we can do that later. The lid, we can do that part later.